Hello and welcome to our special coverage of the exit poll. All the details coming to you of the Axis My India poll on the three battleground states. Let's tell you the big talking points and headlines. The Axis My India poll says the BJP is set to sweep Gujarat. The Saffron Party projected to win 129 to 151 seats, its highest tally ever. The Congress likely to take a sharp hit down to 16 to 30. AAP is the rising force, could open its innings with 9 to 21 seats and a 20% vote share.
Tight fight for Himachal Pradesh with a slight edge for the Congress.
Tight fight for Himachal Pradesh with a slight edge for the Congress. Congress predicted to get 30 to 40 seats. BJP 24 to 34 seats. Rebels could hold the key, as could the woman voter.
Aam Aadmi Party set to end BJP's 15-year rule in the MCD. India Today Axis My India exit poll projects a clear victory for AAP in the Delhi municipal elections. What we are going to do right now is show you the poll of polls for Gujarat. So, of course, the most important, the most credible exit poll is the Axis My India exit poll. Pradeep Gupta joins us, but we'll also do a quick comparison with what the other pollsters are saying. They don't have a fraction of the record that Pradeep and India Today has, but for what it is worth, here they are. So, Jan Ki Baat says BJP will get 117 to 140. You've got P. Mark saying BJP will get 128 to 148. You've got a TV9 survey saying 125 to 131. You've got ETG saying 131 for the BJP. Basically, you're predicting a bigger victory. You're saying, Pradeep, that Madhav Singh Solanki's record of 149 also potentially could be broken?
Yes, it seems to be.
So you're saying
that's on your top end.
Modi's record of 2002 as Chief Minister is broken, you're certain of that?
That
and you're
is for
saying
sure.
149 is also possible?
Yes, it is very much possible. And reason is very simple. Though BJP is getting 3 percentage point less than last assembly election, they got 49. Now they seems to be getting 46%. But the reality is that the other side, the opposition side, there is a sharp split of votes because of entry of Aam Aadmi Party in Gujarat.
What is most fascinating in this analysis that Pradeep Gupta has done for Axis My India, for the India Today group, is that you're saying that there was a time when AAP was actually ahead of the Congress and it has slipped on account of what happened at the time of the Bilkis Bano episode. Explain why you think the AAP got it wrong.
Yeah, so we start our ground preparation for any election state 1 year prior to that, and 3 months back we could easily see that AAP was riding very high.
What were they at that time in terms of votes?
In term of vote, they were second position for sure, and 30%
They were hitting 30.
30% plus. And once they started coming, trying to woo the Hindu voters in the lines of BJP, first they came out saying that there should be the Hindu gods photo should be on the currency notes. Then they were silent on the Bilkis Bano case, and third, they were supporting uniform civil codes. Then Musalman and Dalit and Adivasi. If you see the Gujarat, you should see like this. All these three constituents got 10% each, which is 30% of total vote. 30% is OBC on Gujarat, and 30% is the only state where upper caste is there. That includes Patels also. And 10% is Kolis, Thakurs, and like that, some others. So, Aam Aadmi Party, if you see traditionally, getting the vote share of Congress in Delhi and Punjab as well. And when you say Congress vote, meaning Muslims and Dalits largely. So, they were very good getting the lion's share of all these caste groups 3 months back. But in last 1 month, we have seen Musalmans have gone back to the Congress. Earlier, it was 50% plus for the Aam Aadmi Party among Muslim votes. and about 30% for the Congress. If you see the poll, it is 54% for the Congress now and 30% for the Aam Aadmi Party.
But you know, even having said that, the fact is Muslims are only 9.5 or 9.7% in Gujarat. They were not going to change this election. This election was going to be changed if the AAP was able to get the same percentage of votes in rural and urban. Look at the difference.
No, Rajdeep, we are discussing Aam Aadmi Party and Congress.
Yes,
we are
so-
not saying
no, no,
Aam
so
Aadmi
even-
Party is winning.
No, no.
And it's not only
even
Muslim.
at 30%, even at 30%, the Aam Aadmi Party was damaging the Congress.
Of course,
No,
yes.
you know,
Raj-
let's be clear.
No, he's
Yeah.
saying the
Rajiv,
AAP
let
could have
me-
beaten the Congress.
Let me try and diagnose, why did this 30% recede down? When a campaign is built, one classic thing that happens is if you peak too soon, Aam Aadmi Party came out with its poll promises far in advance of the election. They had these fixed sort of promises of what free they are giving, how much electricity and all. All the excitement that they had built in was almost there a couple of months back, and they never took off that campaign from there on. They could have stuck with 30% had there been more and more innovative sort of campaigns which would have
No, but what
sustained
else
the
can you
momentum.
do?
Momentum recedes. I'm telling you, in a campaign, lifting and keep the momentum going every passing day is a very difficult task.
I tend to agree with
It
Mr.
does
Gupta
not
because
work easily.
that guarantee card actually worked. It
Worked,
cut
yeah.
in the tribal
But it was too
segment,
early
it
in
cut
the
in
election.
Saurashtra, it even cut in the rural poor. But what didn't work is the minute, if you remember, posters of Arvind Kejriwal wearing a skull cap emerged all across Gujarat. That was the turning point for the Aam Aadmi Party to flip their campaign into a pro-Hindu campaign.
Yeah.
Silence over Bilkis Bano, no matter how small, echoed in areas, especially because the Muslims and the Dalits were together on this. It echoed there. Then that whole Lakshmi Ganesh also
But
sir,
nahi
backfired.
Muslim voters.
Rajdeep.
This is what Rajdeep
No, no,
is
it's
saying.
not
that
only
only
my-
9%.
my-
How will this
no,
swing
no,
the
no,
needle?
no,
my-
Muslim
It
might be
won't
10,
swing the
Muslim
needle
might
that
be
much.
9%,
Sir,
but
we have
rub
to
it with Dalits.
understand how Gujarat is. Congress has strong individual candidates. The Congress party is not a it is a 40% party, traditionally. Right? A 40% party, even in the AAP's own surveys, was never going below 25%. And the AAP was at its best, as per their polls, around 34%. The fact, though, is, I will look in each constituency who is consolidating. The anti-BJP voter was consolidating either behind AAP or sticking with the Congress. When they realized in many of the constituencies that the Congress is in a better position to defeat the BJP, they went with the Congress vote. And you will see that. I will show you constituency by constituency. Jignesh Bevani, for example, is perhaps in a better place in Vadgam to defeat the BJP, and therefore the point is that I think even Pradeep is not articulating, I believe the way it should be, is that the BJP is not losing vote in this election. It's a very minimal loss. The AAP targeted the BJP, right? The AAP targeted the BJP right through its campaign, questioned the Gujarat model. The BJP's vote is holding. What instead happened is that the AAP became the vote of the angry protest vote.
Sure.
And that's where
So-
they have taken the Congress
So while
vote.
we are splitting
Out of
hairs-
5 votes, 4 votes have come from the Congress and only 1
while-
from the
while
BJP.
we are-
Yeah, that's right.
While
That's
we are
right.
splitting hair over who came second and who came
Or
third,
who could come?
let's look at what really happened in this poll, which is that the Bharatiya Janata Party is poised to record its biggest victory in Gujarat ever. Potentially also the biggest victory by any party ever. And this, for a party that's been in power for 6 times before this, is quite astounding. And it's in the back of the energy, the charisma of Prime Minister Narendra Modi that you've got the BJP on the verge of making history. To talk about the big national ramifications, because remember, Gujarat, the BJP hopes will be the springboard for the 2024 campaign. No Prime Minister since Jawaharlal Nehru has won 3 times straight. And that's what BJP hopes will be the story that starts from Gujarat with this big victory. Joining us to talk about the national ramifications of this poll, Nalin Kohli, national spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, squaring off against him, Supriya Shrinet of the Congress. We've got Rahul Verma joining us from the Center for Policy Research. And I want to go across first to Nalin Kohli, because you've got 2 perspectives on this. One, that the BJP is poised to break a record, and that by itself is phenomenal. Second is, in this election have been sowed the seeds of a big contest between BJP and AAP in 2027 in Gujarat, which could arguably be a closer, more tightly fought battle than the one that we've seen in this election. Nalin Kohli, welcome.
Thank you. I don't think Gujarat has ever been in doubt, and multiple factors. That's what we've seen throughout the election. I mean, whether we go on in terms of performance, in terms of the charisma of Prime Minister Modi, in terms of performance of the government under him when he was CM, or now as Prime Minister working in tandem with the state. I think Gujarat was never a question. Of course, what all exit polls seem to be indicating is not just the next winning the election again, but the margin by which it seems to be heading for a huge victory. And we've been pretty confident about a victory in Gujarat. But of course, the margin we'll finally know when the votes are counted on that day. In terms of national ramifications, I don't know from whose perspective, because from the BJP's perspective, we won the 2014 election, got a single majority government under Prime Minister Modi. We've repeated that with increased seats in 2019. And therefore, we've also seen that there's a difference in the vote percentages when you go for the Lok Sabha versus the Vidhan Sabha. For example, normally the BJP over the last 5-6 elections has been in the range of close to 50%, 47 to 50% in the Vidhan Sabha, but in the last 2 Lok Sabhas it's been more closer to 60%. So therefore there's a difference in the vote also, and I think the electorate is now evolved enough to make that choice for a national election versus a state election. Of course, getting Gujarat being there once again is a shot in the arm for continuing that Gujarat model that we call. And with regard to the other parties, they have to figure it out. With regard to the Aam Aadmi Party, my view personally is that they have disproportionate media presence as compared to ground presence. So they build a narrative, they keep themselves engaged in the media, but not necessarily they have that presence on the ground. The Congress Party traditionally has been stronger in Gujarat, and the difference, if I go back 2 or 3 elections, has been rather narrow between the BJP and the Congress. But that the Congress Party is slipping more and more below, that's for them to introspect, for them to reflect why they are moving away from the electorate and where do they stand with regard to their leadership or what they are doing in terms of their political activity. It's not for us to advise, nor are we going to be concerned with that. It's really their problem.
So Supriya Srinath, when you look at these numbers, the first thing that really stands out for me is that here is another state where the moment a challenger comes in, the Congress vote starts eroding. How troubling would this Gujarat result be for you? We'll come to Himachal later where you might have slightly better news. But Gujarat first, is there a sense that the Aam Aadmi Party now is eroding, eating into your vote and thereby could emerge as a challenger to you, not just in Gujarat, but across the country? Kaun banega challenger? The AAP will start eating into your vote bank. How worrying is that?
So thank you for having me on the show and good evening to all of you. I find it a little amusing, Rajdeep, that whenever there is an election that we are winning, there is not enough emphasis that's being made on that, and if there is an election that we may not do as well, obviously much is being written about it. Before you say anything about the BJP or the Congress, I'm going to ask you a simple question. The Aam Aadmi Party went to contest in Uttarakhand. It also went to contest in Goa. It was in Himachal Pradesh and it is also in Gujarat. My own sense is after being in Gujarat and Himachal both over the last 1 month, we will do a lot better, with all due respect to your survey, we will do a lot better in both states, both in Himachal and in Gujarat. I think the question that many of us would want to ask is, what is AAP's political stand? What is it that they want to do? Do they constantly want to do the rescue act for the BJP? Because I think that's a question that plagues many a mind. What is their ideology? What is their stand? Why were they in Himachal? Why did they run away? They were in Gujarat. I agree with, for a change, I agree with BJP. Disproportionate media presence, disproportionate euphoria around AAP. But if they end up with a 5 to 7% vote share, which I think they will, what does all of that amount to?
No, but what if they end up,
Gujarat?
Ma'am, what if they end up with
Why is AAP in Goa?
Ma'am, what if they end up with 20% and other surveys are actually giving them more? I'm just looking at a couple of surveys, they're giving them 24% average. If they end up with that and you've come down by about 16 to 18% in a state which is the Prime Minister's home state, they will say they are the real challengers. They are more credible than you to take on the BJP.
So first, let me pick on something that you said, Prime Minister's home state. The Prime Minister has made every state his home state. He went to Himachal and said, vote for me. This vote is for me. And if people are not voting for him, then there is a serious question that gets raised on Mr. Modi's own credibility and his winnability.
Is they are voting for him? I did a cross tab of BJP voters and total voters. About 10 to 20%, depends on which state that you look at, 10 to 20% voters are saying they voted for the BJP because of the Prime Minister. They have a Lionel Messi, you don't. They have somebody who can change the game single-handedly. You don't have somebody
No
who
Lionel
can
Messi, Kylian Mbappe, he's the man.
I didn't say, I didn't say Mbappe because he has other players around him.
Okay.
He has other players in the French lineup around him. But with Messi, he's looking for that magical moment. Anyway, let's talk
Messi or
about
Mbappe, Congress has neither at the moment.
I think now that we are done with soccer analogies, let us return to real life, pure politics. I was on your sister channel and I heard, and this is actually a good news that I heard, 15% people say they voted for local candidates. I think that's very important and that's very good for democracy. And less number of people said they voted for Mr. Modi. So that's a good change. If you ask me from a democracy point of view, that's a very healthy change. So even MCD was contested on the Prime Minister's face. If the BJP is going to be routed, and I also think we'll do a lot better there than what your numbers are saying, but if the BJP is going to be ousted after 15 years, who will own up that loss? I mean, these are questions that we will ask. So I am amused that you say that it's the Prime Minister's home state, but the Prime Minister puts his personal will at stake and he puts his personal credibility at stake. So an election that he loses, who is losing there? Is Jairam Thakur's loss going to be Himachal or is this going to be Mr. Modi? Because look at how he crisscrossed the state, look at how he talked about his own personal interest, how he worked there as a young
But
worker.
he will turn around, Ms. Srinath and say, I lead from the
one
front.
more time.
Supriya ji, he will turn around and say, I lead from the front.
Here is a party that wants to pose challenge.
Ma'am, I take your point about local candidates, but he will turn around or the BJP will turn around and say, we have a Prime Minister who leads from the front. The opposition's candidate, just a minute ma'am, your main face Rahul Gandhi was doing a Bharat Jodo Yatra, still doing it, good luck to him. But the fact is that in the states, he didn't go to Himachal at all, he didn't come to MCD and he only did 2 rallies in Gujarat. So if the BJP leads from the front, you say the Prime Minister is putting his stamp across the country, but on the other side, there isn't that same combativeness. The Aam Aadmi Party, like it or not, you blame you say media gave them disproportionate attention, but Mr. Kejriwal was there every week. He's taking his prestige on it. That's what politics is about.
But there is no other way of fighting an election. You stake your prestige at it. Now, whether you like it or not, Pradeep Gupta's prestige is at stake because of these exit poll numbers. That's just reality. It's a reality. And why not? What else is he supposed to do? He can lead you to power. It's much better than saying, I have nothing to do with this election because I don't think I can win you this election. Therefore, I'd much rather not come to the election at all. You'd much rather have a captain who goes out and bats and says, I will lead you to power. That's what you need your captain to do. I want to go across to Reena Gupta from the Aam Aadmi Party. The AAP was making bombastic claims. 90 seats आएंगी, 100 seats आएंगी, BJP को हरा देंगे. From that perspective, it seems that you could still potentially be number 3, Congress number 2, BJP number 1, AAP number 3. Where is that mark where you say, we think we've done it, we've made a strong ingress into Gujarat?
Rahul, first of all, I think we're going to do much better than what your numbers are showing because, this is the first time we actually properly contested in Gujarat, and any new party, as any pollster will tell you, in the first time around, the numbers don't show up so well in the exit polls. That's point number 1. Point number 2, I've been on several TV programs now and I've been part of several other exit surveys. We are getting at least 25% vote share, which I think is very, very good for a party which has really contested in Gujarat for the first time. The third point that I want to make is, Rahul, this is the first time in the history of the country that a party which is only 10 years old has emerged as such a credible face in a new state, in a state like Gujarat. If we get 25% vote share, I'm very happy. I hope we get more seats than what your survey is showing. But again, Rahul, one thing that we ensured in this election is that we forced all of these parties to talk about real issues. This is the first time the Prime Minister of the country actually went and sat down in a school. He had to go and sit in a, on a nakli in a tent wala school because they didn't actually build any real schools in Gujarat. This is the first time that they spoke about, hospitals, the state of bad roads in Gujarat. The Prime Minister had to do a 50-kilometer road show because for the first time there was a real challenger in Gujarat. It's very
Let me put that question to Pradeep Gupta. This point that Reena is making, and everybody in the AAP is hoping for the same, that when there is a new party, in the first election, like was the case in Delhi, it is difficult to estimate their vote share right in a poll.
No, not at all.
Why not?
In our case, right from 2013,
Correct.
we have given as many as 27 seats to Aam Aadmi Party, which they got finally 28 seats. And continuously all,
And
particularly
you predicted the 2015 wave as well.
all Aam Aadmi Party election we have predicted bang on, which is the case which they are the first timer in Punjab, in MCD last time, and in Assembly poll in 2013. All the times we have captured Aam Aadmi Party exact poll. I
Okay,
would say
so
exact.
Nalin Kohli, while on the one side, the BJP is making history in Gujarat and that is quite astounding. On the other, in the MCD polls in Delhi, right under the nose of the BJP High Command, you are losing. The exit poll done by Pradeep suggests in Himachal Pradesh, the Congress has an edge. Now, if that is the case, and the scoreline reads 1 for BJP, 2 for the others, 1 for AAP and 1 for Congress, that's not a happy picture on Thursday, or is it? Or will you say, Gujarat is what matters, that was the biggest one, MCD the municipal election hai, isme kya, isme kuch nahi, isko chhod do.
But that is a fact. I don't need to say it. I mean, honestly speaking, I mean, do a poll amongst yourselves only. Don't ask the political panelists here, Rahul. And I mean, are you going to say that the MCD is bigger than Gujarat or
No,
any
of course
state?
not.
I mean, that would be taking it a bit too far. So therefore, as I said, I don't need to respond to that. We all know that. It's a statement of fact. But let's come back to your question. At least I can say that I spent time in Himachal. Himachal appears to be close, but I think we'll break the, as we say, the trend in Himachal. It's been argued that Himachal votes out a government, doesn't vote in a government, but that was argued also in Uttarakhand and Haryana, where we've come in. And I'm prone to believe that Himachal will pull off. It doesn't seem tight because it seems a little tight, but I think there will be a clear margin. It won't be, maybe it may not be a sweep, but it certainly is going to be a thing. I'm very hopeful for Himachal. On Delhi MCD, and I'll honestly say that every exit poll seems to show that after 15 years being in the MCD, we aren't going to make it. That's what the polls are indicating. But I don't think it's going to be a sweep either for the Aam Aadmi Party if I take the polls that you are doing on face value.
What is it about the Delhi BJP, Nalin, that the BJP
Can
can't...
I get 10 seconds, please?
Just 1 second, Reena. You've changed so many Pradesh Adhyakshas. You've literally shuffled the whole pack around. You simply can't seem to crack, like the Indian cricket team at this moment, which can't win an ICC trophy for the life of it. You simply can't seem to find how to run the Delhi BJP effectively.
Well, I don't know how I would take that because it's a mixed bag. While we are not performed well in the assembly elections, we won all the 7 Lok Sabha seats twice. So therefore, you know, it really depends, Rahul, how do you look at it? But that is really for
Prime Minister Modi, MCD is literally your local wards, parshads, your MLAs, who don't seem to inspire confidence, and this is right under the nose of the BJP High Command.
No, Rahul, I won't agree with you. And I'll say this as a measured comment also. Delhi is an interesting situation. It's not a state, but you have something called a chief minister. And it comes under Article 239AA, which is the union territories. So Delhi is a very interesting unit, even politically. If you look at it, Delhi, anybody can meet with anyone, not even say the President of Uttar Pradesh would command that kind of space to be able to meet people so easily as Delhi would. And that would go down to every level. So that is true for all parties. It's the capital of India. It's different. Certainly the BJP has been a strong party in Delhi, but we have to admit that when
Hina
it comes
Gupta is itching to come in.
at least the
She's
assembly,
basically wanting to react, I suppose, to your point that the municipal election doesn't matter. Gujarat is the real deal. ये तो municipal का election है, इसमें क्या जीत गए तो कौन सी बड़ी बात है?
that Mr. Kejriwal.
Why all the posters in Delhi have the
Let
Prime
Reena
Minister?
respond to it. Yes.
Because I know it will be a
Rahul,
political
it's a little rich for
I just
Mr.
want to say one
Kohli
thing.
to say
Mr.
that
Kejriwal's
MCD
model is not going to last very long, where you say one thing today, say another thing tomorrow, and expect that people won't hear it.
Reena Gupta, municipal elections, they don't matter. ये तो छोटी बात है. क्या बड़ी बात है? Gujarat is the real thing.
Is that the reason why they had 8 chief ministers and 27 union ministers campaign in Delhi? If MCD did not matter, why did they put all their might behind the MCD elections? You had 8 chief ministers and 27 union ministers campaigning day in and day out for a month. You know, the people of Delhi have clearly shown the way out to the most corrupt department that MCD had become under the Bharatiya Janata Party. And in spite of them trying their level best, they could not manage to win the confidence of the people
Jawab
of
do.
Delhi.
If MCD doesn't matter, why was the BJP president campaigning here? Why did you have half a dozen chief ministers here?
must
If
come in
it
for a
didn't
minute.
matter, why
I
make
would
so
like
much
to
of
respond
an
to that.
effort?
Yes, because Rahul, that I can't blame Reena ji for coming up with that answer, because she doesn't understand what a Karyakarta is in a party that has 50-60 year experience. A Karyakarta is a Karyakarta. Our ministers even today travel to different states and do just very, very normal programs. That's the nature of the party. The Prime Minister calls himself a Pradhan Sevak. Now that's a model, and that's the model where we work, where we are a Karyakarta first, then anything else. And
In all of
therefore it
this-
doesn't matter if you hold the office.
You know,
It
in all of
doesn't
this,
matter.
it's clear.
You will still
If-
go for that election.
It's clear
season
if you
somewhere
look
or
at
the
a
other.
poll.
It happens across the states.
Right. All the polls are showing one direction in Gujarat.
Yes, Raji.
They're showing one direction in MCD, which is why I believe the real election, in a sense, for all these parties is going to be what happens in Himachal.
Why?
I'll tell you why. You look at your polar polls. When you look at the polar polls for Himachal, it will clearly show that different channels are showing it differently. If the BJP is to win Himachal on the back of Gujarat's big victory, the BJP will claim that they've swept the polls. Then MCD doesn't matter. For the Congress, on the other hand, if they were to win Himachal tomorrow, then they can claim at least something that you clutch on
That's like
to.
Saudi Arabia beating Argentina.
No, it's not that. No, it's not so simple. Gujarat, at the end of the day, please understand, Rahul, is the Prime Minister's home state. The BJP's vote share is actually coming down. Let's get this very clear. It's
By
coming
2%, Rajiv, after being in power for 6
That's
times.
not the question, Rahul. You've got to understand. There are 3 big stories coming out of the numbers today. Number one, like it or not, if the Aam Aadmi Party is anything above 20% in Gujarat, it's huge.
That's a big story.
It's a huge story.
Yeah.
According to me, it's as big a story as the BJP winning a 7th time. Both will be equally big.
How can it be?
I'll tell you why.
Who's come second and
You're
third
not-
can't be
you're
as
not-
big as who
you're
won
not-
the match.
Rahul, the fact is 2024 and beyond is about Kaun Banega Challenger. Mr. Modi is India's Neta number 1. The BJP is party number 1. The real positioning is for who will be the challenger. That's why Himachal matters. Because if the Congress loses Himachal, a state which for 35 years has always shown governments changing, it becomes again a big defeat for the Congress on the back of what happened in Uttarakhand. The Congress starts declining. What's happening in Gujarat? The Congress is declining as a credible opposition. The Aam Aadmi Party starts taking that space, which is why this poll of polls, and I am not on the same page as Pradeep. I actually believe the BJP has the edge in Himachal. Purely on the gender factor, the women will decide Himachal. But if Pradeep is right, Supriya Shrinate, and she has to answer this, Supriya Shrinate, you must at some stage recognize that the Congress has to start recognizing that elections matter. You've decoupled the Bharat Jodo Yatra from elections, fair enough. But the fact is, you've got to start winning elections. Only then will people take you seriously. You can't have your leadership not going top national leadership, not going and localizing. If you are localizing it, it's going to have to start working. Do you concede, therefore, that you've got to win at least one of these 3 come the 8th?
Politicians are crying. Congress.
Yeah, I'm going to come to you on that. I'm going to come to you on that.
Actually, this is
Yes,
something
Sheila,
that
one
you've been
minute.
saying.
Sheila Bhatt, you want to say something? Yes.
No, I'm saying that these results are so important for Congress. I don't think there is much of a lesson for any other.
You're saying that Gujarati congressmen are crying.
They are crying and they are saying, let's have a Congress Bachao Yatra.
Okay, so now respond to this, Supriya Shene. Do you concede, therefore, you got to win 1 out of 3? You can't go on saying, you know, we are in an ideological fight. We can keep losing elections.
No, I don't think we are an NGO. I don't think we can say that we will keep losing elections. Having said that, I want to dispute two things that you've been saying. I strongly believe that we will win Himachal and we will win it big. We will be far more than the 40 that your polls are projecting. That's point number one. And point number two that I do want to dispute, because you've been saying this all evening, that I've heard you say this is Kaun Banega challenger. Who can be the challenger to the BJP? Please tell me this. I want to ask, what was AAP doing in Himachal? You said Kejriwal was fighting an election and he was very passionate about it. All right. How passionate was he about issues? I really want to understand that. Was he not actually towing the line laid down by the BJP? What was this whole issue of currency notes and pictures of gods and goddesses all about? Why did he keep mum on Bilkis Bano? Can a man like that ever be a challenger to the hard line that Mr. Modi and his...
Let's put that round the table. Kaun Banega challenger?
Can we go to Rahul Verma?
Yeah,
He's
Rahul
waiting.
Verma, let's settle that. Kaun Banega challenger? According to Supriya Shene, the Aam Aadmi Party is a flexible organization, keeps changing its stand, withdraws from a state when it loses like Uttarakhand. How can it be the challenger? Is 8th of December, 7th plus 8, about Kaun Banega challenger? Not MCD, but Himachal and Gujarat is as much about the Congress's future and the AAP as a potential challenger as it is about BJP being party number 1.
Thank you, Rajdeep and Rahul. I think there are three big messages that are coming out of these. First, the big gainer, if you look at these three polls, Gujarat, Himachal, CD, the big gainer is Aam Aadmi Party. It's basically doing really well in the MCD, which is was first to do well. But by winning MCD that big, what the message is that Congress is no longer player in Delhi. They are not winning Lok Sabha elections. They have been marginalized in assembly, and now they are marginalized even in local election. By winning 20-odd% or 25%, whatever that number is going to be, AAP has entered the third state in a very credible way. So that's the big gainer. Second, I think there is a mixed bag of the BJP. It's a 7th consecutive time victory. It's a record victory in Gujarat, but they might not be able to regain Himachal or the and MCD polls. So they were in power in all three places. They are going to lose one for sure, which is MCD, and might be Himachal, right? So in that sense, it's a mixed bag for them. Congress, if it manages to win Himachal, then it would be a solace, a kind of a consolation prize. But in some ways, they are being marginalized in a state like Gujarat, where they were not winning, but still had a formidable vote share of 35 to 40%. Now they have a competitor in Gujarat. And MCD, they have been marginalized. So that's the big message. Second, I think and I completely agree with some of the discussions that Supriya ji brought in about Aam Aadmi Party. Is ideological flexibility. You can call it flexibility, pragmatic, depending upon what you are trying to do. But AAP, by entering in Gujarat in this way, see, elections are not just always about winning votes. The signal from Gujarat would be that this is the new challenger. And so anybody who is looking for non-Congress BJP alternative, they are likely to gravitate towards Aam Aadmi Party. And it's again not just about voters, it's also about all kinds of different resources. And so it's money, it's media attention and everything. And a lot of that is going to get into AAP's kitty if they manage to touch 20 or cross 20.
So I want to build on what Rahul Verma just said with Pradeep. When we were traveling in Gujarat and we were asking people who you voted for, oftentimes, Pradeep, you would recall that when voters said they voted for the Congress, they actually said, देना तो आपको चाहते थे, लेकिन यहाँ पे उनका उम्मीदवार नहीं था, इसलिए हमने कांग्रेस को दिया. देना तो इसको था. That means potentially, if AAP works hard in Gujarat over 5 years, the Congress could shrink even more, and 2027 would be AAP versus BJP?
Yes, of course, yes. I fully agree, because in any state for that matter, let's take example of Gujarat, 182 seats. For any new entrant to find first the credible 182 MLA candidates is a job. To cadre is very important, because you have a brand equity, there has to be outlets to convert that brand equity into the real vote, which is the cadre, who actually bring voters to the polling booth and make sure they vote in their favor. So any new party, which is the case in Aam Aadmi Party, whether it's Delhi or Punjab, or this time even, I would say 20% is too good a number for them to start with.
So let's go across the table and sort this out. Kaun banega challenger? I want your quick views on this.
I just want to add to that on how the Aam Aadmi Party is creating a cadre in the state of Gujarat.
So how have
they given tickets, Rajdeep? Okay, this time around, if there are MLAs, they have gone ahead in each party, which is the BJP and the Congress, they have identified a parshad. They have identified a sitting corporator and said, ticket tumhara hai. So he comes with his own cadre base and his own vote base. So this is how they are trying to build that network in Gujarat.
Can I tell you a story? Interesting. How did Amit Shah and Narendra Modi build the BJP in Gujarat? Yes, in late 1980s, early 90s, there was a panchayat election. They went and met those who came second.
Exactly.
And told them, because the BJP didn't have the numbers. Please understand, in the 80s, the Jansangh was not some dominant force. In fact, the Janata Party, which was not necessarily, Babubhai Patel and others in the 70s, was a bigger party than the BJP was. They went and met the number 2 guys across Gujarat.
Rajdeep, 17 tickets by the Aam Aadmi Party has been given to parshads and corporators.
So why is it today that even today the BJP needs 17 people to come from the Congress to cross over? Because the BJP is not necessarily strong in every part of Gujarat, especially North Gujarat, where the Congress, I still think, may do reasonably well. But Sheila, you agree with that? That do you think AAP will be the challenger in the future in Gujarat or the Congress?
No, I see this way, that AAP in a short term is fighting, focusing on Congress and hitting them hard in a ground strategy. That wherever they are finding weaknesses of Congress very seriously.
So you think they will first target the Congress and then go to the BJP?
So they have, I think in a 10 years time you will see a new politics in India, and this result of Pradeep Gupta is very exciting because it is showing a sprouting of a national trend in Gujarat.
Rahul, you want to get into that? Is the AAP first looking at the Congress, targeting a weakening Congress, and then 5-10 years down the line going for the BJP?
This is what I've been saying for 1 year now, that the AAP changed tack. It was initially attacking Modi. Then you saw there was a period of silence, and then Aam Aadmi Party changed strategy. It went after the Congress. It realized that eating into the Congress should be the first priority. You create ground and then you take on Narendra Modi. The big gainer will definitely be AAP if it does.
But can it do the same, if I may, in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan also?
Slowly, Festina
they will
make
pick and choose their battles.
Rajdeep, it is not going to be happening overnight, but
you're looking at a 10-year horizon.
If it wins MCD, makes a good beginning in Gujarat, see what is going to happen. The narrative is going to be in Modi's Gujarat, AAP has done well, eaten into Congress vote. In Delhi, the Congress is decimated. AAP, under Modi's watch, has won. It becomes a summit battle between Amit Kejriwal and Narendra Modi. And that story is going to get replicated. This is what Aam Aadmi Party will take it to every state.
See, Pradeep Gupta, I just wanted to ask you.
Rajat, yes.
See, I have a different take. Aam Aadmi Party, you look at, they were looking to perform well in Uttarakhand. You know, these are the grounds where they worked hard and developed a leadership. But what happens to that leadership? Lock, stock and barrel, they all move into the BJP. So what the grassroots leaders are identifying is, if they're not getting tickets in the mainstream party, they are seeing Aam Aadmi Party as a launch pad. The moment they get a launch pad, they all move. And Aam Aadmi Party will find it increasingly hard to, hold on to these vote shares in increasingly future elections.
I agree with Rajat in a way. Rahul, the difference between the BJP and AAP, and we get the example of how Amit Shah and Modi went and targeted those who came number 2 in panchayats. The BJP has a cadre. They have the RSS. They have the VHP. They have a system. The AAP's problem is what you're relying on Mr. Kejriwal as the face of every, much like Mr. Modi, rely But Mr. Modi has a backup team, an entire team, ministers.
But angst without baggage is what the Aam Aadmi Party...
The strength of the AAP in Gujarat, for example, was what? You don't have to answer for when Mr. Modi says कि कांग्रेस के जमाने में कर्फ्यू होते थे,
exactly, no baggage.
तुम्हारे लोग करप्ट थे, ये सब. AAP doesn't have the baggage, but AAP, as Rajat rightly says, has to recognize if you are in the long term, you need to build an organizational cadre state after state. You can't withdraw from a state if your numbers don't add up. That is the challenge. It's not.
And you have to stand for something.
And you have to stand. Absolutely right.
The Aam Aadmi Party demonstrates massive ideological flexibility.
No, Rahul. I personally feel, the biggest problem of why is it not able to hold on to leaders is ideological. They don't have an ideology. They have a very transactional relationship. You can't have loyal soldiers. No, 1 second.
Leaders.
They don't have loyal soldiers who are fighting for something which is larger than election.
Completely contradictory.
That is why you don't have the glue to really hold on to your cadre base. What are they fighting for?
No,
I'll tell you why. That cannot be an emotive reason to hold the stock when even if you don't win a single seat. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Can I actually, from this result, what would come if these results hold? The fact that this may be contrarian. There is a large anti-incumbency vote in this country. And India is at in the next 6 months.
But that is always true. Even Nehru had 60% anti-incumbency vote.
Just a minute. Therefore, that anti-incumbency vote, if you're trying to capture, you've got to be ready to do the hard miles on the ground. The Congress's problem is, it's a great brand, high brand recall, go across Gujarat, people know the Punjab. But you go into the poll 2 months before. You go into the polls with your cadre shifting sides because you get allured by the other side. So you lose your credibility. If the Congress were to rediscover its ideological moorings, was to empower leadership on the ground, look at what they've done with Shashi Tharoor. He's contested against Kharge. They are virtually eliminating him from Kerala politics. If the Congress were to stick to ideology, if they were to rebuild their organization and give themselves a fresh leadership, they still have the brand recall. The problem is,
are we getting carried away in the wrong direction here? The critical question is, the BJP is coming to power for the 7th time in Gujarat. That is history. Not since the CPIM has any party done it. It's about who wins the World Cup.
Absolutely.
Who came second or third is only of marginal consequence.
No, Rahul, just one small thing. Gujarat is India's most politically Hindutvavized state. Even before Mr. Modi came on the scene, BJP was winning 46-48% with Keshubai Patel as their leader from 1995. Go back to 1990s, they started sweeping panchayat and municipal elections. There are 44 seats in Gujarat. BJP has not lost over 25 years. So the BJP has built itself. Today, brand Modi is bigger than brand BJP in Gujarat. People who are angry with the BJP are still voting for the BJP, not because of Bhupendra Patel, but because of Narendra Modi. No doubt about it. In that also lies the seeds of weakness in the future, as we saw with Indira Gandhi and the Congress in the 1970s. My limited point is simply this. That's why Himachal matters. If Supriya Shrineth turns out to be right, and the Congress wins big in Himachal, it shows there is anti-incumbency on the ground. You should be worried about rising prices, unemployment.
But there is always anti-incumbency in every election.
No, so therefore, Rahul, if there is anti-incumbency, then 2024 opens up. If, on the other hand, Mr. Modi is able to pull up his party,
but there's a big difference. I don't agree with you. Anti-incumbency in an assembly election is very different from anti-incumbency against Modi. The two are not the same.
100% agreed with you. That is why I believe in 2024, Mr. Modi still has huge advantages. The point I'm making, what are the next elections coming, if I may look ahead? Karnataka, Congress has more than half a chance if they get their act together. Big if. There are 3 northeast states coming up, all of which potentially competitive. And you've got a whole string of 3 states, 2 of which are Congress ruled, where at the moment they will be on the back foot because of anti-incumbency in a state like Rajasthan. India works, Rahul, 2 ways. National elections, tough to beat brand Modi because it's much bigger than the other side. The moment you enter state elections, fight them well, you have half a chance. The problem is you don't fight them well.
That's the big.
That is the problem with the Congress. If you tell me in Himachal Pradesh, anybody went there, people are angry, apple growers are angry, government employees are angry. If you still cannot win Himachal Pradesh, you should abandon your party and make it an NGO. The problem with the Congress is that their mentality is not to win an election. Unless you change that mentality, they're not going to win. And that's the point I make.
But are they even trying to win? That's the other point.
Supriya Shrineth must smell the coffee. You know, you are in a state like Himachal. Priyanka Gandhi does 4 road shows, they get excited. For God's sake, the Prime Minister does 12.
12.
I mean, look at the difference.
34 in Gujarat.
That's what who is that leader, Supriya Srinath? Look at what you've done to Shashi Tharoor. Because he contests against Mr. Kharge, your leaders in Kerala are told to abandon him. How can you run a party like this? You're already down, you'll be out. That's the message coming out, Supriya Srinath. Wake up and smell the coffee.
Pradeep ji, I just wanted to know that after the euphoria is over of victory of BJP in Gujarat, how will Modi and Amit Shah will look at these figures? What will be the worrying points in this? And how strong brand AAP has percolated in Gujarat interiors?
You have to
Two
see
questions.
how this brand is built up. What you call is Narendra Modi is purely based on the delivery. Nothing matter more than delivery, and which is the case to by and large with Arvind Kejriwal also. What you classified as freebie ABCD, I don't know. So, important point is what is next to deliver.
Yeah.
Because people are having lots of aspirations, so as the expectations, as you start feeding them. So worrying point is that what is that one consistency? I know for sure at this point of time, Har Ghar Jal. Drinking water is the biggest problem in the country even today, because 70% of rural India does not have tap water connections.
So you're saying
which they have already started building and made some good inroads and made sure at least out of 70%, now about 20 to 30%, at least pipeline is let down. Now water has
Can I get those Supriya Srinath and Reena Gupta? Reena Gupta should respond to our concerns about whether AAP's ideological flexibility will eventually lead to the law of diminishing returns. But you, Supriya Srinath, I had a bit of a rant there, because I wonder, here is a big party with a great brand, and you don't fight elections. Or are you working to a local model where we localize? Har candidate ko bola. I met Gujarat Congress candidate Supriya Srinath, who said, "Humko kya hai, tum akele lado." Is that the way a party fights an election?
No, and also Supriya Srinath, Jignesh Mevani crowdfunding his own election.
Your MCD, your Congress, Delhi Congress president did not even know that he was registered as a voter. He was not registered.
Okay, let us speak. Can I come in now? Thank you. I appreciate your rant. I appreciate your rant, and I'll tell you why I appreciate this. Because there is cause of concern that you have of what they could do with democracy if it wasn't for the Congress. Don't mind my saying this. I really appreciate your rant. I'm touched by your concern. Having said that, let me answer every question that you have raised. I don't think we are an NGO. I don't think we behave like one. Because we are doing a Bharat Jodo Yatra, it's rather uncharitable of you to turn around and tell me we're not interested in elections. We are interested in elections. We will win big in Himachal. And I will ask you this question. Yes, Priyanka Gandhi did 5 rallies and Mr. Modi did 18 or whatever number you quoted there. But if he loses, what about his own credibility? Because he wanted the vote for himself. वो तो MCD में भी वोट मांग रहे थे. अब मनोज तिवारी के नाम आ जाएगा, वो अलग चीज है. I am asking you a simple question. You were all discussing how people leave, how the churn happens and all of that. What about the CM candidate in Uttarakhand for the Aam Aadmi Party? He is today the chief spokesperson of the BJP. What about the CM candidate in Goa? Where is he? Does anybody know that? So it's all very well for people to keep positioning people as challengers. The reality is you become a challenger if you have something else to offer. What else is Mr. Arvind Kejriwal offering that Mr. Modi is not? He is so desperate to be a more hardliner Hindu than Mr. Modi himself. That's really the question I'm asking, to which I have got no answers. And I don't think I'm answering this question or asking it in isolation. I really want to ask this question.
Reena Gupta, answer. You're mute.
For 27 years, they allowed Bharatiya Janata Party to rule Gujarat, acting as team B of Bharatiya Janata Party in Gujarat. Why were they not able to create a credible opposition in Gujarat? That's point number 1. Point number 2, the ideology of Aam Aadmi Party is to ensure that every citizen of this country has access to good schools, good hospitals, good roads, good employment, has enough food to eat. Why is it that after 70 years of independence, these two big parties that have been ruling the country 50% of the country is still dependent on free ration. What have they done for the country? It's only because of Aam Aadmi Party that we are not talking about these real issues, and that is the ideology of Aam Aadmi Party, that you ensure that the citizens of this country have access to basic human rights. They have not managed to ensure basic human rights for more than half the country. Then what are they really talking about?
We're running out of time on this show. Pradeep Gupta, in conclusion, other pollsters seem to be picking BJP in Himachal. You seem to be suggesting the Congress has the edge. What are you picking up that others aren't?
See, as I've kept on saying, Himachal is too complicated a state because of its nature, the hill states, and bulk of the people lives in multiple villages. So that is number one. And most importantly, different demographies are voting differently in Himachal. Like women is voting more in favor of BJP, whereas men voting in favor of Congress. That is number one. Number two, different regions like Kangra, Mandi and Shimla voting differently. So I am not saying that BJP is losing. All I am saying, there are chances of both the party forming the government, but Congress has little better chance than BJP in Himachal.
Okay, if this was a World Cup quarter-final, Nalin Kohli, ideally the BJP would want 3-0. It may end up 1-1-1. If it ends up 1-1-1, is that bad news, or do you think, that MCD election, leave that aside, focus on Himachal, which you still hope you win, and the BJP's big victory in Gujarat?
So 3 comments. First, of course, I must say it was an interesting experience to have a spirited conversation between 2 anchors, and we could sit back and actually enjoy that discussion as viewers. The second is with regard to the Aam Aadmi Party.
I hope you're not being sarcastic. I hope you're not trolling us. We get trolled all the time.
2 anchors.
Not at all. Not at all.
Thank you.
No, not at all. I was not being sarcastic at all, Rajdeep. I thought between you and Rahul, that was a very engaging conversation. We don't see it very often. And I meant it with no offense. The second, I was saying that what I would like to see is that politics of the different...
Saying we didn't let him speak. You see, you're given more time to me to speak, you're speaking amongst yourselves. Go on.
We can begin with some clean air and clean water in Delhi. Clean air is the promise to the farmers in Punjab, so their problems of parali would have stopped, which was promised before the elections. Of course, they got lathis instead of solutions after the elections. And water is that it moves on to the next 5-year plan. So therefore, as I said, the Aam Aadmi Party can hope to succeed with its plans, believing that Mr. Kejriwal will say one thing today, say another thing tomorrow, even when asked by journalists, diametrically opposed or deny what he said on the first instance. There are fascinating videos to that. Let's not speak on that. 3, on Rahul, your question, which is with regard to, 1-1-1, or is it a 2-1, or is it this? I think, and I firmly believe that we are pulling off, of course, Gujarat, everybody says that, and there's never been a doubt, but I think we'll pull off Himachal too. I'm prone to believe that BJP has the edge, not the Congress in Himachal. With Delhi MCD, every vote, every show that I've sat on and every exit poll seems to indicate that the Aam Aadmi Party is pulling it off. And if they are pulling it off, the credit has to go to them. So, I mean, you can't deny credit where it is due.
Okay.
Rahul, the BJP is an election machine. It gets the benefit hugely, as we see, whether it's electoral bonds, even media exposure. All that, is part of the game. Plus, as Rahul Srivastava put it, this man-to-man marketing, micromanagement in Gujarat. It's a machine in Gujarat. So Gujarat, I would say,
I disagree.
It's a tribute.
It's not about Gujarat is not about machine. It's about emotion.
Okay, it's emotion come machine.
No.
Also,
emotion is also there, but it's also a machine. So we disagree. We can disagree on that.
It's about emotion.
Okay, so it's emotion, it's Gujarati Asmita. But therefore, I think Himachal becomes very important that day. Because if the BJP wins Himachal, they can rightly claim we have created a pro-incumbency vote in this country. And that is a big build-up to 2024. If, on the other hand, they lose Himachal, then there is a narrative which is building up that there are parts of this country where anti-incumbency matters. Who becomes the challenger and takes that anti-incumbency vote will vary from state to state. This is not in India. we'll have Telangana where TRS may want to emerge as the challenger, Bengal, Mamta. At the end of the day, Modi hai in a national election. But state elections, Rahul, I think are going to become more competitive, and there an intelligent opposition has an opportunity if they are willing to fight for it.
And if Congress
Rajdeep, I
doesn't
have
wake
got
up,
one
if
point to
Congress
make.
doesn't wake up, it is in ICU, it will go in isolation vote.
No, because you see,
Rajdeep,
if they win Himachal, Rahul, then Rahul Gandhi's yatra at least. You see, because if you start losing elections, then even a yatra, much as you claim it's decoupled, loses momentum. You start winning elections, then jaan to aati hai phir.
No, or the lesson
Rajdeep.
is that it's better that he doesn't come, that you're more
Then
likely
you
to win.
introduce a new model.
Then
New
you
model of
introduce a new
electioneering.
model.
Yeah.
Rajdeep,
Pradeep
if
Gupta, we out of time,
I
quickly.
just have one quick point to make. If Himachal won by BJP, then opposition, the entire opposition, what you are referring 2024, will be compelled to get united in some or the other way. Even Congress and Aam Aadmi Party may start thinking to merge. As alliance.
Pradeep Gupta, before Gujarat, at one point of time, the Aam Aadmi Party actually thought that it could be a hung house and they'll go with the Congress and
That's
form a
what I'm
government.
Rajdeep,
But
I
they
think-
were
No, but it will
would have
also
actually
shatter
happened.
many illusions. For those who are thinking they'll end up with 90 seats, it will also be coming down to Mother Earth and a really sobering sense of where you actually stand. But what is clear, Rajdeep mentioned that BJP is the fiercest election machine. On the other side, you've got a party which doesn't even seem like it wanted to compete. From 77 seats for the Congress to end up in the mess that they did in Gujarat suggests you didn't fight hard enough. And when you're fighting against the fiercest fighters that modern Indian politics has seen, you cannot be ambling into battlefield. You have to fight as if your life depends on it.
There's only a little bit of gatia of fafda left.
after the fafda, you have to have the jalebi.
There is fafda and there is some South Indian idli here. Next time we'll keep it for the next election. But you know, Rahul, I think it's going to be fascinating. Is it 2 days, 7th and 8th?
Yeah, because you've got the
MCD and-
MCD
okay.
elections on the 7th, you've got the big counting day on the 8th. It is disputed who has the edge in Gujarat, but I'm certain after having watched our coverage today, or I hope after having watched our coverage today and over the past several years, that you think India today has the edge on counting day. And Rajdeep and I look forward to seeing you 7 a.m. on the 8th.
7 a.m. for Rahul. I watched the late night match at 12:30 football, so I'll come in at 8.
That's not fair. Rajdeep's also going off to Qatar to watch the World Cup, leaving us over here.
Now,
Come on, this is really unfair.
At my
He
age,
didn't even ask whether we wanted to come with him or not to
at my
Qatar.
age, I'm entitled to the odd, trip out. I'm getting old, so I want to see Brazil reach a World Cup final. Come on, guys. Neymar versus Mbappe.
No,
France
for all you
versus-
know, they may not
But
last tonight.
Rajdeep, my team for World Cup winner is Argentina or France. Mark my
He
word.
went to watch the World
So
Cup.
this is a pollster.
Yeah.
Argentina, France versus, I've said, my heart says Brazil. My
No,
head
what? You've
says-
done an exit poll in the World Cup.
I'm told that Pradeep Gupta has been sending umpteen forwards on World Cup football to
He was
people.
watching the World Cup.
I was watching there because I'm diehard fan of
Who's your favorite player?
Mbappe, of course.
Mbappe. That's
He's
it. That's
going
the
to
man.
get Golden Boot for sure.
Golden boot for sure.
He's sounding more confident about this than about most other things he's seen.
He's already
Anyway,
got 5.
we'll see you on the 7th in the morning. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed our coverage tonight. Rajdeep and I love the election more than, several other things that we do. So we'll see you in the morning on the 7th and then also on the 8th. No football for me. We'll focus fully on the elections, the data, and we'll come back again early in the morning on the 7th. See you.